there is no healing there. She went home for a brief time, for a 2 or 3 month period, but then she was getting heel sores that weren't healing very well, and she elected to go back to the hospital. And she lived out her life at the hospital. Yes?
I just have a question. I heard a story, and I want to know if you know it's true.
Okay.
I heard a story that whenever Leonard Nimoy or William Shatner would call DeForest Kelly and ask him how he was, he says, "I'm doing very well and married to the same woman. Thank you very much."
Yes.
How does that story go?
Dee very often at conventions would say, I make the living, but she makes the living worthwhile. And I really do think that was one of his proudest things, because you know what Hollywood marriages are like and the temptations that are, inherent in being that kind of a public personality. And he and Ricardo Montalban, when they were doing the motion picture together, were really sitting and talking about that. Ricardo Montalban also has a 50-plus year marriage. And it's very rare. It's totally, it's... People just wonder how that could even happen in Hollywood. It rarely happens everywhere, but in Hollywood especially. So he was very proud of his marriage. And I imagine he did a little bit of tweaking there, too. Yes? Paige? Hi. Oh, okay. I don't want to scare you guys. I have, I think, 12 or 14 copies here today. I did that only because they're print-on-demand books, and I can't afford to assume a whole bunch of people are going to buy them when they're not, because I will go broke. But I will sign a little book plate for you if you want to get the book on your own. You can pick up a little card, and you can order it online, and it's shipping all over the world. So there are 14 copies here, and I also did some in audiobook format. For those of you who don't want to read, or might have a sight issue, or you just like, when you get stuck in traffic, to help you get through the traffic jams. So I have a few of those too. So I probably have maybe 30 altogether. But I think only about 14 of them are the paperback. And if you go to the actual publisher's website, you can get the hardbound for what the paperback costs you at Amazon.com. So go to authorhouse.com and type in DeForest Kelley properly, Kelley, and the book will pop up for you there. Or type my name, and Christine M. Smith, and all the books that I've written will pop up there for you. Yes, ma'am. Yes. No, I left Hollywood about 3 years ago. So I'm working in a church right now, and I think I'll be working in a newspaper soon. So, and I'm continuing to write. Remember, my mother said you couldn't make a living writing, so I'm trying to do some other things to supplement my income. Yes. I'm an animal advocate. I have 3 cats. Does that count? They were all rescued. By the way, I would like, when I was down here in Sacramento from 1981 to 1985, I worked at the Animal Protection Institute, and a number of people who are here today, I'm going to embarrass you, I would like you to stand up, because all of these people are involved in animal welfare. Richard, Paula, Nancy. Nancy's now a teacher. You remember the horrendous Olive floods 7 years ago, 10 years ago? These folks were literally in rowboats at the top of tree line levels, pulling coyotes and snakes and cows out of trees. I mean, they went out and Richard said not a one of them offered to bite him. They knew they were being helped. Yeah. Thank you for what you do. And DeForest Kelley's official charity was the North Shore Animal League. So if you'd like to remember him at all during his birthday or anniversary dates or anything, send some money to the North Shore Animal League. He would absolutely love it. How are we doing on time here? Is Adam going to come in a minute? Or keep going? Keep going. Yes, ma'am. Myrtle the turtle moved across the street, kitty corner, and lives with a lady named Mrs. I'm going to get it wrong. She has a good home. Yes, she does. Yes, ma'am. That's in Terry Rio's book, in the biography, and I have a few copies of that. I have like 3 copies of that with me. That's From Sawdust to Stardust. And Terry Rio, by the way, just to give you a little thumbnail of Terry Rio, she graduated from a Texas university as an historian. And Dee gave me the permission to write his biography, but I knew I could not do that. I'm not a researcher. I'm an anecdotal writer, as you just found out. I'm not a researcher. I'm not an historian, but she had just graduated in that field, and she had always been a DeForest Kelley fan. And her treatise, I guess, when she graduated was on, now Terry was 2 years old when the Kennedy-Nixon campaign and the big issue of, will America ever elect a Catholic president? Terry did such a good job on that. Bill Moyers was in the back of her auditorium when she was talking about that, and he came up to her and said, I would never believe that somebody who was barely alive at that time could ever get it right. So I knew Terry was a really, really good researcher and a really good historian. So I gave her all of the contact names that Dee had given me to write the book, and I said, Terry, you've got to write this book. I want Dee to have a really good biography. So Dee had continued to maintain relationships with kids that he ran around with when he was 5 and 6 years old. So I passed all the names on to him, and she ran with it, and it's a wonderful, wonderful book. So I recommend it. Yes, he said so. Yes? I kind of did my own thing. I actually self-published these books because anybody who wanted to publish it, because I was a first-time writer, in quotes, a first-time book writer, they wanted to take all of the rights and give me about 2% of the profit, and I said no. So now with this print-on-demand publishing, you can print a book for right around, if you believe in your product and you're willing to put some money into it, you can generally publish a book for around $600. And you have to self-promote, you have to do all of that stuff, but you also have to do that with the big publishers. They don't send you on these trips. You have to pay for all of those trips. So all I say is if you're a writer, you keep writing. Yes. Pardon? Are there any more hands? I have about 1 minute. Yes, sir. Okay. Yes. William Shatner visited Dee and Carolyn both in the hospital. Leonard didn't, but that's only because he was out of the country. He could not get there. It was pretty kept under wraps right until he passed away, pretty much. So Leonard was aware, and he called him. Nichelle was there a lot. George Takei came by. Almost everybody sent flowers and notes constantly. So he was very well, he was aware. He was aware, and they were aware, and they had some good quality time together. One more. Yes, sir. I think right back there, but we'll have to be quiet because something else is going to be going on. So right behind here. Okay, Adam, are we ready? We're ready, ma'am. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Chris. Let's have a big hand for Christine Smith. Thank you, ma'am.